I don't think this is a huge surprise to people because Anthony Richardson had struggled. Plus, Anthony Richardson's always hurt, and then Anthony Richardson has had just lots of little things. Last year when he took himself out, I mean that was odd. But now Danny Dimes comes in and has a chance to resurrect his career. And Daniel Jones comes over from the New York Giants, and he earns the starting job with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's a variety of things that it means. Um, I think our guy Dan Dockich, who joins the show occasionally, who does radio in Indianapolis, I do think he nailed this one thing where Anthony Richardson was talking about how, man, he really wants to dive in and know everything about the playbook. And I saw one tweet from Dockich, which was like, wait, you want to know the playbook now? What were you doing while you were hurt the past 2 years? I saw Anthony Richardson play last year against Green Bay, and he just didn't look like an NFL quarterback. Now, I don't profess to be a quarterback whisperer, a quarterback guru, or a talent evaluator for the National Football League, but when you go and see in person, it's a lot like, do you guys remember the discussion we had a couple years ago about Tua and Justin Herbert? And there were some on television on Fox who were saying, like, yeah, that Justin Herbert's a phony, Tua's the better quarterback. And look, you don't have to throw 100 miles an hour to be a great pitcher. You don't have to have a laser arm. Anthony Richardson has one to be a great NFL quarterback. But my point was, if you went to the Dolphins-Chargers game, which I think was a Sunday night game, which I did, and if you walked away thinking that Tua was anywhere in the stratosphere of Justin Herbert as a quarterback, you had to walk in with such an anti-Herbert pro-Tua bias. It's silly because it's like a different sport. It's much like if you know what a golfer looks like, who like a guy who's a long drive champion. They hit the ball, or your buddy who hits the ball a mile. And like, man, he's really talented. And then you see him against a pro, and a pro is just different. The touch is different. The read of the greens is different. The approach is different. They hit the ball not just the right distance, but to the very right area of the fairway, so they have the right approach. And then when they get it on the green, it's not just get on the green. Like you and me, hey, if I can get on the green, it's great. They want to be below the hole. There's a specific reason they hit the ball a specific way with a specific spin. That's the difference in Anthony Richardson and NFL quarterbacks. It's not that he can't throw. It's not that he can't move. He can really move. They haven't been able to use him as a runner enough because he's gotten hurt every year he's been there. And they want to protect him, but to protect him, you have to not run him. To not run him, that emphasizes the part of his game, which is the part that needs to improve the most, which is his touch and reading of the defense, which he doesn't have. I'm also going to be fascinated by Daniel Jones because what was the story of last year quarterbacks in the NFL? I would make the argument that last year's story was how many of these resurrection projects ended up benefiting the quarterback and the new team at their new home. Because you get essentially a veteran. Like Daniel Jones has not been in the league for a long time, but he's been in it long enough, right, to have a contract extension. So you're in the league six years, and you're a veteran, and because the Giants had moved on, you get him at a fraction at the regular price, so you get backup money on a guy who started a lot of games, and he's super motivated to not just impress, but also do what you want because he's been in the league long enough to know, okay, I went with Shane Steichen. If I just do what Shane Steichen wants, I got a great shot of winning the job, of winning games, and of being on this roster moving forward. So last season, we had Baker Mayfield. We had Sam Darnold. Obviously, it didn't work out nearly as much in Pittsburgh.
I feel like Geno Smith is part of that, even though it wasn't just last year. I still felt he was part of the conversation.
Sure. Great call. And it's we talked about it in the offseason. Would it be a trend where you're trying to get a guy who had kind of worn out his welcome or they moved on from him, but he did have a lot of experience, and you get him at a fraction of the normal rate for an experienced quarterback of that ilk. In Daniel Jones' last 5 starts last season, in his last 5 seasons, he had 57 starts, 46 TDs, 35 interceptions, 83.4 passer rating. It's not great. Here's Colts head coach Shane Steichen talking about the decision to make Daniel Jones QB1.
Daniel Jones will be our starting quarterback this season. I don't want to have a quick leash on that. I feel confident in his abilities. I think he's a veteran guy that's been around the block and seen a few things, and seeing how he interacts with his teammates and how they've taken to him and how he's taken to them. I think he's done a really nice job, and I think the guys are excited for his opportunity. The behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't see with Daniel Jones is his work ethic, the way he connects with his teammates, the operational stuff, like I said at the start of this thing. In the huddle, the communication, the checks, all that. And I think we got a good group around him. Overall, our football team, offensively, the weapons we have, that I feel that he can be successful in it.
And look, Steichen, when he called plays with the Chargers, was very good. When he called plays with the Eagles, they went to the Super Bowl. And, when he had Joe Flacco, they were pretty good as well. So I'm sure he's one of these guys, a lot like Kyle Shanahan. Just run my plays, connect with our teammates, and by the way, if you don't make a lot of money, we can build a pretty good roster around you. But everything you heard from Shane Steichen is everything we've talked about these guys, is they've been humbled, by losing their previous job. They still have a confidence, but they know how to connect with teammates, and because they're not making a gargantuan sum of money, they're able to be kind of just one of the guys. So you do wonder if the Colts are able to do what the Buccaneers or what the Seahawks and now Raiders have done with a Geno Smith.